This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Ring the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Break the Bell Podcast.
Yes. Hello, beautiful bell breakers. We are here
We are.
like the third Monday in a row now.
I think it's the second.
Second? Okay,
Yeah, I
well,
think
we're
so.
making progress, though.
I already went through all my screw-ups that I know of beforehand. The only thing is I'm missing the rubber part on my earbud on one side, and it's going to really annoy me because now my balance is off, and I feel like I'm tipping over. But
So if you see Craig fall that way,
That's why.
he's missing.
yes. How's everybody doing out there? It is another fun-filled Monday, and we are here to talk about the bullshit that's going on in our country, in the world, wherever we find bullshit, we're going to
Mostly
talk
here
about
in
it.
our country.
Mostly here, our country's full of bullshit. So plenty of bullshit. Derek is here. Derek says, "Let's
Hey,
go." Is that goo?
I think it's. I'm not ready to goo, but I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go too. So we're going to talk about a topic that I didn't necessarily want to ever talk about again.
You
And
should have
that's
known better.
January 6th. Did you know this would continue to be a topic of discussion in 2023? We're talking January 6th of 2021.
Yeah.
It is now November of 2023. We are a month and a half away from the 3-year anniversary of this deadly insurrection that was worse than
Since
9/11 and Pearl Harbor
right?
and
Civil War.
yeah, the Holocaust
Yes.
and the crucifixion of Jesus Christ all put together in one.
It's
And
pretty
here we
horrible.
are once again talking about it.
Yes.
Derek says Craig is over here raw dogging an earbud. Yes, yes, that's exactly what's going on right
That's
now.
the way he rolls.
It is. I prefer it that way. Get in there nice and rough. Speaking of getting in there nice and rough, can we cram more January 6th down people's throats? Like,
no.
did you think it would on January 6th or January 7th? Did you think by now it would eventually go away?
Yes.
Yeah, you thought so.
Even after, remember at the beginning of the summer, they're like, the J6 trials are going to start up, and it's going to be even more invigorating than Top Gun.
Yeah, so you remember when they had kind of the little hearing clips and it was all this dramatized
Yeah.
bullshit. Yeah, it was so bad that we didn't even really cover it
at
much.
all.
Yeah, it was vomit inducing. It
Yeah.
was just so ridiculous. But they're cramming it down our throats again because apparently there was 40,000 videotapes that the
Yeah.
J6 Commission didn't feel like was pertinent to release to the public.
They suppressed it.
Yeah, well, you remember all the videos that we were shown
Yeah.
of all the violence and the clashes with the police and people breaking down windows, climbing up the freaking side of the building, and all that fucking shit that they showed us. And then we see clips, pictures, still pictures of people just kind of walking through velvet ropes, and we're like, something seems a little odd
Right. Yeah.
here
Like
because
we're missing a piece.
yeah, we're missing something here.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the new Speaker of the House, his name Mike Johnson, is that his name?
Yep.
Mike Johnson. That is quite the porn name.
I was
First of
gonna
all,
say that's something you'd call Bar and be like, "Is Mike Johnson there?"
Yes. So apparently he feels like the public needs to know more, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna release 40,000 tapes.
Yeah.
Do you know what my first reaction to that was?
Great. Here we go again.
I texted you the article, and my only response was, "Well, we're fucked."
Yeah, right.
Because I'm not even saying that this is gonna change anything. I'm not necessarily saying that the official story is totally disproven by these videos. I'm not gonna say that yet.
Yeah.
We'll go through
Right.
what we know so far, and then we'll decide. But
Yeah.
right now, even before I read the article, I'm just like, we're fucked. Because just even like the diehard, blowhard MAGA supporters, even if they just read 40,000 tapes that were suppressed by the J6 committee, I mean, they're going to lose their fucking minds.
Because it was, I mean, Republicans and Democrats on there that decided that those tapes weren't that important.
Yeah, and most people right now are pissed off at the Republicans.
Yeah.
At like Liz Cheney is on the chopping block now. They want her head.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure how careful I have to be on this episode, because we got our second strike last.
We did.
We got our second strike again. We got another strike
For what?
for the school shooting one.
Really?
For the
Main.
Yeah, not the
Oh,
main.
no.
It's the
trans thingy.
The tranny shooter. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Really?
Yeah, that one got us flagged.
Huh.
For like, was that the one my brother snuck in on?
Yeah.
Okay, now I know why he got flagged. Because it was talking about like glorifying people that promote violence or violent people or something. So yes, Dan, if you are ever listening in the future,
I do believe that was his goal that night.
I'm
as well.
pretty sure
Either that or to get us nailed with anti-sentimentism.
you single-handedly got us flagged again on YouTube. So I'm not sure, is it even worth it to be careful on this one? Because we're already going to get it nuked just for like being like, well, and then somebody said had the conspiracy that this wasn't real. They're going to be like, you question the official J6 narrative, you're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all bullshit,
big brother.
So, where was I going with this?
Doesn't matter if we're careful or not.
Yeah,
we're going down.
We're pretty much going down. So, like I was saying, the freaking MAGA nuts are going to come out in the droves.
Yeah.
And I don't know, to potentially lead to another January 6th incident based off of this. I mean, they're going to find every little thing and be like, you see that? That's why it was all a lie. And I mean, some of it, I could see it. There's definitely, I have definitely enough questions about January 6th, and that statement alone is going to get me kicked off of YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
But then some of it's so stretching. It's just like, I feel like some of these conspiracies are being pushed to just make it like shills, just make it all look just like fucking crazy, like, or just so ridiculous. Like, really, that's what you're going off of, calling this a conspiracy?
But there are certain parts of the video, and I'm sure we'll get there, that you watch and you're like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, there's plenty of stuff. And we've been saying that for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's part of why our first YouTube channel got got nuked to that, and COVID and all the other things.
Election and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So we asked the questions, and that alone is enough to get us kicked off YouTube. I feel like we've been fairly safe and tame for the most part.
For the most part.
We ask the questions. We never come to like conclusion. We do say that sounds like bullshit. We're very clear to say, and I don't know why it is so dangerous to say that sounds like bullshit.
Right.
I mean, if you have a problem with that, then come at me and tell me why that's not bullshit, or why I'm wrong, or why don't just like nuke my channel just because you're like, oh, he said that was bullshit. He's questioning the official narrative. I mean, we've gone down that trail plenty of times about getting nuked for asking questions. That's what we formed this whole show off, the premise of asking questions and talking about the things that we're not allowed to talk about. So I guess we're not doing ourselves, like, we're not going in the true spirit of Break the Bell podcast if we tiptoe around it too much.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk about January 6th again.
Well, at least it's going the other way this time, though.
Is it though? Will it? Who fucking knows?
I would hope so. I mean,
it won't. The thing is, nobody's talking about it.
Well,
like, the mainstream is not talking about it.
It's nowhere on the mainstream.
So probably 80% of people haven't even heard about this,
Right.
unless they're sitting on Twitter in certain Twitter circles that will pass this information along. They haven't heard about this, or if they're fans of Zero Hedge, which we definitely are fans of Zero Hedge, because the mainstream media is not even fucking touching this, which the conspiracy theorist in me tells me that there's something in there, because the mainstream is not, it just isn't even saying anything. If there was nothing in there, or if I'm getting ahead of myself, if the reverse side, if all this was just a bunch of damning evidence that yes, this was this great big insurrection and Donald Trump himself like orchestrated it, you think the mainstream media would be talking about it a little more than they're talking about it right now?
Yeah,
probably. So
like you said, for them, J6 has been such a like this big like September 11th / Pearl Harbor thing. If there was something that extended their narrative, it would be all over the place.
Right, exactly. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. We're going to watch, hopefully my computer allows us to watch a few of the clips and see some of this stuff that's getting passed along. And I'm sure a lot of the stuff getting passed along is the stuff that just supports whatever narrative of the person that's trying. There, obviously, nobody has watched all. I don't even think all of it's been released at this point.
How could you
exactly
get
so
through it all?
But so that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch a little, talk a little, and bullshit a lot. So make sure you check us out all over social media, because we're still there as of right now. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the X at the handle @BreakTheBellPod. Check us out. Share us far and wide across the lands before we get nuked, because you're awesome like that. We're going to get right into this quick little intro ditty, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the J6 dump, massive dump.
It is a massive dump.
We'll be right back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, baby.
Did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me. Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
And we're back. Derek says mainstream media mods operandi. How do you pronounce
Modus
that?
operandi.
Modus operandi. Whatever. Is that Greek? I don't know. Misinformation by omission. Latin. There you go. Where they just don't report on things they don't like. I mean, that's just
arm of the government. You know.
It is. It really is, and it's kind of disgusting. And not only do they not talk about it, then the social media suppresses it. Make sure nobody else can talk about it because we don't like it. But we have free speech here in this country. Free speech, but you just don't necessarily have the platform to do it on.
Exactly.
See, that's one reason I feel like we will never have like a truly like communist country here, or total government ran, like where the government runs all the media and all that shit, because right now these companies that are pretty much owned by or in the pockets of the government, all these private companies like the corporations like Google's and YouTube's and Facebook's that still like work hand in hand with the government without being part of the government, they can get around like free speech, because free speech doesn't really apply when it comes to private businesses. But if the government say owned Facebook and I type something in and then they said, nope, you can't say that, then we could scream, that's my free speech you're stomping on. So we don't ever have to necessarily worry that the government's going to take over all the media and stuff, but in a way that's scarier because when they have total control or total partnership, at least with the media, but it's not government media, they can get away with crushing free speech or whatever. I don't know. That's
you
so
you can't decry, suppressing free speech because it's a private business.
They're like, you guys love free markets around here. And I'm sure there's libertarians out there that say a lot of that stupid shit too. It's like, well, you don't like it, go start your own platform. Well, the problem is people do start their own platform and then they just get crushed.
You end up with Truth Social.
Yeah, you end up with Truth Social, or you end up with Parler that just gets crushed because they dared to allow Donald Trump on their platform.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my soapbox. So it's been, like I said, nearly 3 years since January 6th.
It's crazy.
How have you felt like the weight of January 6th ever since?
Every morning I wake up and pray for something other than J6.
do you shed a tear?
I do.
For those,
I light a candle for the many, many lives lost, and pray.
Mostly just Ashley Babbitt, because
basically
that's about it.
That we know of, right? Yeah. I mean, there's probably a lot that we don't know of.
Thousands.
Yes.
Thousands. I mean, if it's worse than 9/11s, there's got to be more than like 3,000-4,000 people that died, right?
Exactly.
So nearly 3 years since the violent insurrection of January 6th. And to kind of recap it for all you youngsters out there that don't remember that dark day in history, the kind of lead up to that, like I feel like we kind of forget the build up to that, like what that was. I mean, every news media outlet will say, well, it was when Donald Trump tried to claim that the election was rigged with zero evidence.
Yeah.
You read the articles, everyone's like, with no evidence to show. It's just like, we covered a lot of that leading up to January 6th. Like, that kind of looks like bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think that was our old YouTube channel, I'm guessing. That must have been our old YouTube channel, because I'm surprised by now we haven't got nuked, because leading up to January 6th, we're like, did you see this?
Yeah.
Did you see all these freaking irregularities here? Did you see? Remember that weird spike at like 3 a.m. In the vote counts, where all of a sudden it just shot up, like
the playbooks that were put in place, like as soon as Trump was elected president.
Yeah, what they were going to do, or the playbook put in place or leading up to
changing
keep it.
Election laws for years to get up there.
Yeah, there was all the rumors of the fake mail-in ballots. There was the weird counting anomalies, like I said, the spikes and stuff. There was more votes than voters.
Yeah.
And again, all of that's like zero evidence pointing at that, because
they're just too numerous to recount.
Obviously. And then there was the big plan to steal the election, or stop the steal is what they called it.
Right, yeah.
One side called it stop the steal. The other side called it steal the election. So depending on which side you're on. And we remember January 5th, we did our own episode of What's Going to Happen Tomorrow.
Yes. And we thought we saw a pathway where maybe Trump could retain the presidency.
Well, yeah.
And that went to hell.
We had just kind of read kind of the playbook of, hey, there is the potential there. Some people are saying we should, like, if they didn't allow certain electorates or something, or if they sent different electorates up, or blah, 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 they discredit these, then maybe potentially a small, slim to no chance that it could potentially flip.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're like, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. Right.
And then January 6th happened, and we're like, wow, that didn't age well at all. That didn't fucking age well at all. Well, you remember, wasn't it even, who was it? Was it, what's the freaking senator?
Which one?
The Southern senator that left Texas, the Texas senator.
Oh, shit.
Jeez, he ran for president. Ted Cruz.
Oh, Ted Cruz.
Wasn't he the one that was like, well, let's at least give them an ear. Let's at least acknowledge this.
Yeah.
Let's take some time. Can we at least take time?
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were at least going to, like, there was at least some interest in acknowledging that people were upset.
Right. And he's like, let's kind of dig deeper, because if enough people are calling this out, there might be something there.
There may be. So I don't think there's something here.
Yeah.
but let's at least amuse them.
Right.
And then January 6th happened.
Yeah. And then everybody backed away.
And yeah, all of those people that were like, yeah, we're kind of sitting on the fence with this. There might have been enough people sitting on the fence to at least slow down the process. And then January 6th happens, and they're all like, nope, not fucking touching that.
Not touching that.
I'm
Trump
not
needs
touching
to
that.
go. Trump needs to
And
go.
that was probably the fastest that they've ever like. What's the
come to a consensus?
Yeah, come to general consensus. Yes, Joe Biden definitely won.
Yeah.
It was probably within like 3 minutes. They're like, Joe Biden's it.
Yeah,
Joe
right.
Biden's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Anybody oppose? Do you oppose? Are you a J6 guy?
Right.
And they're like, not touching that.
Remember that? Yeah, it was like, okay, if you're a Republican, then you are definitely an extremist, right? If you're a libertarian, you're an extremist. They had this whole list.
Yeah.
If you were a veteran, if you had "Don't Tread on Me" sticker on your car, you're an extremist.
Yes. So that was the fastest turnover of a freaking electorate that probably ever existed, because everybody's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah. And we
Biden
talked
wins.
about it, though, that the playbook that they used, they knew that Trump, if they gave Trump enough rope, he would hang himself.
Yeah. And it absolutely happened. And
Absolutely.
or at least the Trump supporters hung him.
Yeah.
Or if it was somebody other than Trump supporters inciting this, he was hung. Like there was just no coming back from that.
Trump's big speech before, they went towards the Capitol building was like, you got to fight like hell. And
let's go to the Capitol. We're going to fight like hell.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, let's do
fight
it
like hell. And he's like, oh, fuck.
But, and that one sentence has been like the basis of like all like the J6 indictments towards him. Like, he I don't know. He like pushed this on, like he
inspired
violence. It. He incited this insurrection with his words. Like, he's like, I was just being facetious.
Yeah. I saw a speech from a football coach I liked.
I didn't even write the speech. What are you talking about? And they're like, you're going to jail. I mean, he's looking at possibly like 20 years in prison for that fucking sentence.
Oh yeah.
For saying, let's go to the Capitol and fight like hell. And they're like, fuck yeah, let's go to the Capitol and literally fight like hell, supposedly. So the Capitol was stormed, quote unquote stormed. Remember the QAnon shaman?
Yep. Sitting in Pelosi's desk.
Yeah, he had his like antlers on. And
remember the AOC narrative, how she was locked in a room crying for her
in
life.
A totally different building.
Yeah,
I remember.
3 blocks away.
Apparently, a desk was shot upon.
Yes.
Some stuff was stolen out of some offices. Windows got broke.
Yeah.
Some people died. One being Ashley Babbitt, who is the one person that was like murdered.
Right. Yeah.
And then another guy apparently had a heart attack.
Right.
Probably COVID related.
Right.
I don't know. Any other case, it would have been a COVID death, but this case, it was because of the insurrection.
Yes, it's Trump's fault.
And I don't know. People probably got like hypothermia or something. I don't know, but that was Trump's fault too.
Well, we'll get there, but that one dude got shot through the cheek.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, since then, as mentioned, this is notably worse than 9/11.
Oh yeah, and drives me crazy every time he's like, "Oh yes, that fateful day, J6."
Oh God, do people actually say that with a straight face?
Unfortunately, yes.
Now we have seen the videos.
Yes.
Of the chaos of the people like tearing down barricades. Like I said, people scaling the building, breaking the windows, like trashing
using
the place.
Park benches to get up the wall.
And then we again seen the images of the touristy type images.
Right.
Like,
stay within the ropes, people.
Yeah, there's a couple images floating around out there, maybe a few videos. And it's just like, what's that there? Like, are these people just like, this can't be a picture from the same event.
Right.
Can it?
Yeah.
Can it really be? Or did they just happen to have it on their like photo list and it just happened to like fall in there and you're swiping? You swipe, you know how you swipe, like showing somebody pictures and you swipe too far and you're like, oh, that wasn't supposed to be in there. Maybe that's what it was. I mean, that's how it kind of felt. But thousands, doesn't matter what happened, thousands of people have been arrested with many years of prison time.
Yes, because they put on the enhanced terrorism on top of
Oh yeah,
for their
yeah,
charges.
through terrorism, insurrection,
Yeah.
or whatever, trespassing, all this stuff, and
And even
assault
in our own
charges.
town, there was a billboard, and it was like offering reward for information on any J6 insurrectionists.
Fuck those people.
Right?
So we haven't really talked about, like, because we got this new Speaker of the House, we didn't really get a chance to talk about the fiasco surrounding the former Speaker of the House going. We talked a little saying, hey, remember he didn't keep his promise on not pushing this gigantic, massive spending bill. Remember, he's like, I'm going to break it down and push it through one line by line item. And he didn't do that. So what was it? That
Matt
Gates or whatever his name was like, you know what? I'm going to spend every day. We're going to do roll call. And then I'm going to call for a vote to kick you the fuck out. Well, it was like a day or two later that they kicked him the fuck out. They're like, this is taking too much time. And then we didn't talk about the fiasco of them bringing on a new one. It took a long time.
Yeah, they went through like 3 or 4 possible candidates.
A war kicked off in that time, and we didn't even have a house
and they
to
got
declare
blamed
war.
for it. I know.
Yes. Well, lo and behold, this Mike Johnson. Do you know anything about this Mike Johnson guy?
I don't actually.
He apparently is a Trump guy.
Okay.
He must be. I think.
Yeah.
I think he came out. One of the first things he did, he came out and endorsed Trump for president, and then his second act of business as Speaker of the House, he made this promise. He should have known, based on Kevin McCarthy, don't go into the speakership with promises,
right?
Because people will hold you to it.
Yeah.
His promise was, you know what? I'm all about transparency and stuff. I'm going to release all the fucking videos from January 6th. And then he took the speakership, and people started calling him out and being like, when are you going to drop these videos? When are you going to release this? So what was it, 3 days ago, I think? Like Saturday or Friday?
Yeah.
Obviously going into a weekend, because that's when we do dumps like this, going into the weekend. He decides, I'm going to release all these videos. Upwards of 40,000, what is it, hours of video or
hours.
Videos total?
Hours, yeah.
So 40,000 hours of video. Hasn't released all of them yet, but he said he will, over the next few days, release all of them. So I've got this article. This is one of the original articles from Fox News, talking about Speaker Johnson beginning to release 40,000 hours. I guess it was right in front of me, and I asked that question. 40,000 hours of January 6th footage. It says Johnson said he will make the footage available via a public website starting Friday. Speaker Mike Johnson from Louisiana said the House of Representatives will release more than 40,000 hours of footage taken at the Capitol. Now, we got to point out he is a Republican, so I don't know if that matters, but it probably, like,
and
the agenda
guy.
matters. The agenda matters, if he is a Trump guy specifically.
Yeah.
Says we'll release more than 40,000 hours of footage taken at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, when protesters angry about the 2020 election results stormed the halls of Congress. Some video is already available to public as of Friday, with the bulk of it to be released gradually over time, Johnson said. When I ran for Speaker, I promised to make accessible to the American people the 44,000 hours of video from Capitol Hill security taken on January 6, 2021. Truth and transparency are critical. Now, whenever a politician says truth and transparency are critical, it makes me wonder what the fuck they're covering up or trying to cover for.
I was going to say, usually it's someone else's transparency.
Trying to distract from or something.
Yeah.
Today, we will begin immediately posting video on a public website and move as quickly as possible to add to the website nearly all the footage, more than 40,000 hours. In the meantime, a public viewing room will ensure that every citizen can view every minute of the videos uncensored. So in Congress, at the Capitol, they have a public viewing room where every citizen can go and view 44,000 hours of footage. Did he think about the logistics? Did he think about the logistics of how that will work?
No, because you can imagine going there hoping to see footage and some asshole sitting there trying to get all 44,000 hours.
He's like, nope, I'm here.
No, man, wait your turn.
How long is 44,000 hours? I got to do the math here. Like, how many days is that?
Man,
44,000 divided by 24 divided by 365. That's 5 years worth of video. 5 fucking years.
Yeah.
And every citizen in the United States will have the opportunity to go watch 5 fucking years of footage from January 6th. Maybe they have like multi-screens. Like,
yeah.
what's his name from Batman Begins?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Lucius?
Yeah, Lucius
Morgan
Fox.
Freeman's guy.
Yeah,
He's got like the big ass thing where he can watch all of them at once.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that like that. Maybe it's just like surrounding with like that. I guess if you had 1,000 screens all the way around, you'd only have to watch like
I feel
40
like
hours.
miss something though.
Maybe that's the point.
It's like maybe they're opening like a sports bar with a lot
There
of
you go.
TVs
Yes.
sitting on the side of the Capitol building.
He continues, the decision will provide millions of Americans, criminal defendants, public interest organizations, and the media an ability to see for themselves what happened that day rather than having to rely upon the interpretation of a small group of government officials. And I think that's fine. I think that's probably more fair than relying on the small group of government officials. Now,
anything is.
Kevin McCarthy last year, about a year ago, released quite a bit of the footage.
Did he? Okay.
To Fox News only.
Oh, only to Fox News.
So,
well, that's not helpful.
The only footage we're going to see is whatever Fox News then deems necessary,
which
to push
goes
their
towards their
agenda.
narrative.
Yes, which is not really a Trump agenda, but it's Republican. It's more of a probably a Liz Cheney style agenda.
Yeah.
So he was just like, no, that's not good enough.
Because remember Tucker Carlson, the reason he got booted for Fox is because he came out saying there were feds on the ground at
Oh,
J6.
I'm sure. Yeah. Johnson said roughly 5% of the footage would likely be held back due to sensitive security information related to the building architecture, or probably the 5% of the videos that actually fucking matters.
Yeah, right.
That's probably the footage. And that some faces would be blurred to avoid any persons from being targeted for retaliation of any kind. Nobody cared about that on January 6th. They wanted to target all of
they
them.
wanted to shame anybody that was there.
It is being made public through the House Administration Committee's Subcommittee on Oversight. Another one of those subcommittees of a committee that we're paying to release videos.
I wonder if they got put together by a task force.
Johnson shared the link to the public website on his X page on Friday afternoon. Let's see. Former Speaker Kevin... Jesus, it went too far. Let me see. Come on. Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy had made clips from J6 available to qualified individuals like the media, legal defendants, and certain groups in September to be viewed under security measures at the Capitol. Again, if you're making clips, that's no different than what the media was showing us 3 years ago. All just the clips that matter.
Right.
And they're all like, hey, this here is what happened on January 6th.
Yeah.
And not showing us the other things that happened.
Give the raw footage.
Yes. So, I don't know. What do you think of his decision here? Good idea, bad idea? What do you think?
I think it's a great idea.
Derek says, can I bring my own popcorn or do I have to buy theirs? I think you definitely would have to. They're trying to, they got to turn a profit, man.
They'll just take it out of your taxes.
Yes, exactly. So you do think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I do.
You don't think this could go wrong in any way?
Oh, I think it could go wrong in many ways.
Like what?
Well, I obviously it's gonna put a burr under someone's seat. I mean,
one person or
no, like
50%?
Thousands of people.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, it's like I feel like these politicians that may have suppressed the information, or the Capitol Police, the captain. I mean, I think they have to suffer consequences too.
Sure. I feel like
they should be, censured, impeached, kicked the fuck out of office, and
burned at the stake.
Sure, why not, man? Heads will roll.
Yes. So this, when I hear, hey,
definitely get kicked off.
Absolutely. When I hear that this stuff's getting released, my thought is this could be really good for Trump and his, or not necessarily, I won't even say his supporters, but the defendants, the people that were arrested. Obviously, they were Trump supporters, but the defendants, we'll call them defendants. It could be really good for those people and the people that were just there and happened to touch the wrong sign.
Right.
That happened to be being pushed towards a police barricade and then got thrown in prison for assault charges on police officers.
Yeah.
Could be really good for those people. or it could be really bad depending on what's there. If
Yeah.
there's like 44,000 hours of these people just tearing shit up and like fucking shit up and shitting on desks and stuff, then that could be bad. It could be pretty damning. But it also could be like, this wasn't as bad as possibly it looked. So like I said, I had a couple of clips. I'm really hoping that my computer allows them to play. So let's take a look at this violent insurrection. All right, so here's the first clip.
Yeah.
Tell me how violent this looks to you. I don't think there's volume because it's just CCTV.
Just video, yeah.
So if
Looks
you're
rough.
listening in podcast land, this first video is a video. It looks like a hallway, probably.
Yeah.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 officers standing against the wall. 2 of them are like what I would best describe as lollygagging with each other. They're just shooting the shit with each other.
Right.
As a line of protesters just comes strolling by in a single file line carrying like Trump flags.
Doesn't look too violent. No one's shitting.
No shitting,
No
unfortunately.
stabbing and shooting.
They're just looking around, and the police officers aren't even like watching them.
So that
Oh,
guy in
there's
the
a
red
police
sweatshirt.
officer walking with them. A couple officers walking with them, kind of like they're what I would best describe as escorting
Tour guide,
them.
right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, follow me, guys.
Right.
Follow me. Don't touch anything.
Oh, here's another officer walking with them.
Yeah.
No violence so far from what I'm seeing in this. There's a guy carrying a camera phone. There's some backpacks. Probably 50% of them are wearing masks. So I mean, this was 2021. So
yeah. So I mean, that's really
oh
surprising.
shit. There's
don't tread on me.
don't tread
flag.
on me flag in MAGA hats. It's getting pretty rowdy
That
here.
is rowdy.
So this is like a minute video.
Yeah, and I believe in this footage, there's a guy, and maybe you
Not yet.
No, you know who I'm talking about.
The guy that flashes.
No.
Oh, go ahead then.
He's wearing a red sweatshirt, and apparently they had tried to plea bargain with him, told him if he pleaded guilty, he would get minimum charges, whatever, and so he did. And then they told him they were going to drop terrorism charges on him.
Yes, I did hear about that. They're like,
and
yeah,
he ended up killing himself.
Oh yeah, there was like 3 or 4 defendants that killed themselves over this. All right, here's the second video. Again, violence and insurrection.
It looks horrible.
Based on all the videos we've seen so far, this is pretty much right along with that. So here you see,
looks like they're being guided.
A similar line of protesters or just tourists.
Yeah.
3 or 4 police officers walking in front of them, walk through this smaller hallway area, open the door for them, and then stand there and allow them to walk through. And they're just like, yeah, we're through, and holding up Trump Pence signs. Police are clearly holding the door. Now, the thing that pisses me off, and I don't even fucking care if this was an insurrection or not, if this was like a bloody massacre, bloody riot or not, these videos do exist.
Yeah.
We can clearly see that these videos exist. And people are still saying there is no evidence that police allowed any of these people into the building or assisted them into the building in any way. Just watch those fucking officers.
Right.
Hold the door open for them. Not just open the door for them, but hold the door for them. And to have the nerve to be like, there's no evidence. It goes back to what I was saying about zero evidence of the election being stolen or cheated or anything. Zero evidence. It's like there's no such thing as zero evidence.
Right.
There's just not. Like you can always find something that would kind of fit a story there. It might not be substantial evidence. It might not hold up at all under any scrutiny. But there's no such thing as zero evidence. So whenever somebody comes out and says there is zero evidence, it tells me there's probably a fucking ton of evidence. You just don't want to talk about it. Like somebody could have been murdered in the next state over.
Yeah.
And I could probably find something that would be some form of evidence against you. You don't even have to be in the state, but I could find like, oh, there's black hair there that kind of matches your black hairs.
Yeah.
Or what the hell is this? Or there was a boot print that looks like your dirty boots there. Not substantial evidence. Not anything that's going to hold up. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's a shitty example, but still, like something like this where they're like, oh, there's zero evidence that police had anything to do with this or allowed them. And it's just like they're even though it's before these 40,000 videos got released.
Yeah.
There was evidence.
Yeah.
There was enough pictures of police officers moving barricades or not, at least not holding back or anything.
Right.
It was, I mean,
well, what would you say to say somebody for the sake of devil's advocate be like, well, they were trying to stop further violence, so that's why they were
and
being so.
I thought about that too. It's just like, well, yeah, like what's worse, somebody like getting in through like opening your car and stealing shit, or breaking your window and stealing the same shit. Like I've thought, like I don't usually lock my personal vehicle doors because I don't have anything that's worth more than my windows.
Yeah,
and so, but still, the police would say you allowed this to happen by not locking your doors.
Right.
I would have no case really in somebody breaking into my house, not much of a case anywhere way, if I left my doors unlocked.
Right.
Just like this. It's like, yes, I understand the point that, yeah, less damage may be done. Maybe they're trying to mitigate the damage. It's like, well, you're already here. Let me just open these for you. Don't break my fucking door. I will open it for you. But then you can't turn around and say there's zero evidence that police officers had any part in allowing them through the doors, because whatever their motives were, whether it's to, hey, come in on in, guys, or hey, don't break my fucking doors, you still open the door. There's still evidence that you allowed those people in. Derek says, oh, the humanity, the blood, the pitchforks, the torches. No, not the baby. Most horrible thing on the internet. I know. I can't believe we haven't been kicked off for showing how bloody and gory this is right now. Like, it's terrible.
Blurred.
All right, here's another one. This one, these next couple really pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
So this one, there are police officers standing first. One was wearing a blue jacket, says clearly U.S. Capitol Police. Like, we can't mistake who that person is.
Yeah.
And the other one is wearing a jacket with a badge on this side of it. And they're standing at a door. And all of a sudden, it looks like they're talking. We can't see their heads, but it looks like they're talking. And then all of a sudden, the people start coming in. And as you see, what does this police officer do?
He's kind of guiding them.
No, watch.
Puts his hand around him.
He shakes his fucking hand and puts his arm around him. It's like, hey, man, nice to see you. Good job, blah, blah, blah. Now, part of me, again, devil's advocate, playing both sides of the fence here.
Too.
There are probably plenty of police officers, even the Capitol Police, even the security at the Capitol, that were Trump supporters and fully supported this protest, fully supported the stop the steal shit. And possibly were like doing their own thing, like one-offs, like, oh yeah, like come on in, let me pat you on the back. You guys doing a good job. Don't tell anybody I told you, but you're doing a good job.
Right.
But again, if that's the case, you still can't say there's zero evidence that police allowed them to come through the doors.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So
what if, say, again, sake of argument, we got some people that may be of the federal persuasion there.
Like Fed boys.
Yeah. And
I think there's probably a better
thanks, guys. Thanks for this. We're helping out.
Oh, you mean like one of the tourists coming in was one of the feds?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's probably a good chance that there were definitely feds infiltrating this. I think there's probably a 100% chance that there was Fed boys in on this, and whether or not it was just infiltrating it or whether they were
instigating
the instigators of it, it doesn't fucking matter,
right?
Because they won't tell you any of this.
Oh, fuck
they won't give any. How dare you have the audacity to think that there is FBI infiltrators as part of this horrible insurrection?
Right.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Because that hasn't happened before.
Right.
That didn't happen a few months prior. Ask Brandon Caserta,
right.
Where like 80% of the people who are trying to in on the freaking attempt or plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer were Fed boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
saying, hey guys, who would be awesome?
It would be a great idea.
We should do this.
We should fuck shit up. Yeah. Let's like fuck the system or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, no, what we should do, we should kidnap the governor. And they're like, what?
Yeah. No. I got a plan. Hear me out.
I'll buy you hookers
Yeah.
and drugs
Yeah.
and the hotel, and I'll provide your meals, the ride, everything.
Yeah. I can
let's
get
just go
explosives
scout.
too.
You want to go scout out the place with
Yeah.
me? It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time. All right, here's another one. Let's see. Play. All right, so this one.
This is the
this
one that
one
got me.
pisses me
Yes,
off. So
yes.
this one, you see a police officer. He's. That's a really nice place to stop it.
Yeah, right.
The guy's got like flexi cuffs.
Yeah, in the
behind
back.
his back.
Yeah.
Police officer brings him to another section of the building, removes said flexi cuffs or handcuffs or whatever it is. While he's still in the Capitol building, guy stands up, fist bumps one of the guys as he gets these removed. I'm assuming that other guy is one of the cops too. Maybe it's just his buddy that's with him.
I think he's a cop.
But I think he's a cop. Yeah, he stays there with the cop.
And they're like, this fucking
Here, watch
guy.
again. Watch again. Bends over, remove fisticuffs, flexi cuffs, whatever we're calling them. Stands up, looks at the one guy. Is like, cool, bro.
Thanks,
Fist
man.
bumps the other guy. Again,
He's-
what the fuck is going on?
They're like, hey, man, we appreciate what you guys are doing. Thanks. Or they're saying, I think we got these fucking guys. Good job.
Yeah, you did good. You did great there.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get more in next time.
A little different than what you were seeing in those violent protest videos where they're like having to tear gas the crowd and people beating each other and throwing shit. A little different than that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that stuff didn't happen, but you can't just bypass that all this shit happened too.
Yeah.
Because it did. It's very clearly right there. This is probably the last one I'm going to play. This is a guy outside where all the violence was kind of happening. Listen to what this guy says. Oh my God. Okay, this isn't the one. No, this is where the police are moving the barricade, or just kind of. Look at this police officer. He's like, come on, guys. Come on in. He didn't move the barricade, but they moved the barricade. He runs up. Police officer badge on his arm. It's like, come on in. Let's go. Come on in. Join the party. Another example of no evidence that the police kind of assisted them to go in. I think this last one here. This is a guy that was kind of out at like during the violent time. Listen to what this guy says, and it's really interesting to me. Because all the Trump supporters were in on this. They wanted to tear down the fucking Capitol, just instill Trump as their leader and stuff. They just wanted to wreak havoc. Listen to what this guy said.
Why are you letting this happen? Why haven't you called for backup? Where is your backup? This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch. Fuck all of you. Call for backup. Get some help down here. And if they don't want to give you fucking backup, they obviously don't give a shit about you.
This guy's wearing a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
Telling the police officers, why are you just standing there letting this happen?
Yeah.
Call for backup. They're destroying our fucking Capitol. This is a Trump supporter that, and since this guy is on a video, he probably ended up going to jail for trespassing and
for being
all
there.
the shit. Yeah, just for being involved, even though he was one of the ones trying to get them to, can we stop this shit? This is not supposed to have, this was not supposed to be what happened here.
Yeah.
Like, why are you allowing this? It seems like he's saying.
Yeah.
And the cops are just they're not trying to stop it.
No, they're just sitting there watching.
They're standing there, with their hands in their pockets. They're grabbing their dicks or whatever and just watching the whole thing unfold.
Yeah.
So this just raises more questions to me. It doesn't answer anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is actually going, like, what actually happened on January 6th?
Right.
Because yes, there was definitely, I've seen the videos of the violence and stuff, but I've also seen a lot of videos now of pretty peaceful, tourists walking through the building.
Yeah.
Just not being stopped in any way.
They're just, well, okay, the doors are open, guys. I guess we're going to do this. Let's walk through.
So I mean, it kind of confirms those touristy images that
Yeah.
we'd seen, where it's like, is this really part of this, or is
Right.
this from a different reel that like we just got thrown in there? No, this was clearly part of it.
Right.
But we weren't allowed to talk about that or see that because of all the other shit that happened. Like, if it was as deadly as they made it out to be, why are they just letting them free roam? Not even free roam, like,
Right.
like kind of escorting
Assisting
them around,
them,
assisting
right?
them, giving them high fives
Yeah.
and fist bumps and shit,
Yeah.
shaking their hand. Like, this was a deadly, violent thing, like the entire time, like
Yeah.
they're making it sound. Why are those police officers like going
Yeah.
to jail for part of this?
I doubt, when they're flying with the terrorist on 9/11, they weren't fist pumping them, walking on the plane.
They could have been.
Really.
George Bush was probably fist bumping them as they came back off. I don't know. It depends on your theory of 9/11, but we won't get into there right now.
That's a different show.
That is a totally different episode for a different day. So these videos all kind of got dumped, and these are what people are circulating around. There's probably more out there that is a bunch of
I'm
nothing, or I don't know. Like I said, people are only going to circulate what fits their narrative. But people like Liz Cheney, who sat on the freaking J6 council, like royal council,
right?
Piece of shit, like her dad. They're kind of coming after her, calling for her head, calling for her neck or whatever, because I've seen more people pissed off at Liz Cheney than I did about like the people that supposedly stole the election, because it's like, well, you're clearly one of them. You've been trying to suppress this whole time.
Yeah.
And this Mike Lee guy, he's a representative, and he's like really pushing a lot of the more conspiracy theory side of this, which obviously we're going to talk about.
Who's Mike Lee?
He's a representative too. Where's he from? Utah. Yeah. Sold what's Mitt Romney's stomping grounds there. Liz Cheney and Republican senator exchanged fiery words over J6 videos. So they got in a Twitter spat over this. The videos got released by Mike Johnson, porn star, and then these two Republicans got in a pissing contest on Twitter over this. It says former Representative Liz Cheney, a Wyoming Republican, and Senator Mike Lee, a Utah Republican, exchanged a few choice words on Saturday on social media over videos of the January 6th Capitol riot. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Louisiana Republican, announced Friday that his office would be releasing the complete archive of Capitol riot security footage, roughly 44,000 hours in total, after releasing an initial batch of footage totaling 90 hours. He had previously promised to release the footage during his run for the office of Speaker. Since the release of the footage, many Republicans, particularly supporters of President Donald Trump, aligned with the MAGA movement, have claimed the videos will help confirm their narrative that the events that transpired on January 6th were not a violent storming of the Capitol building in response to Trump's 2020 election loss to Biden. However, the narrative has been strongly denied by others, including Democrats and moderate Republicans, with available footage and eyewitness testimony rebuking the idea January 6th was not violent. After a number of short clips from the newly released footage were shared to X, Cheney took to Twitter on Friday and wrote, "Here's some January 6th video for you," and shared a clip of a previously available footage. And here is that clip that I just closed it. I closed it instead of clicking on it. Hang on just a second. I'm going to pull up the clip that she decided to post because she's a fucking moron. And again, it was one of those that we've seen 1,000 times, and it's a mashed up, like cut up one of just the violence.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull that up.
Something that fits her narrative.
Obviously, yeah. Because this is the only thing she cares about is her own personal vendetta against Trump. Like, she was never a Trump person.
No, she's always, that's why she was censured before.
Yeah. Jeez, why is this not pulling up? Pull up, damn it. Anyways, god damn. Here we go. I think this is probably the one. Oh, it's slowing down. Oh, we overbooked it. Is this the one, please? Yes, this is the one here. So let me pull this up. So here's the video that Liz Cheney
Okay.
was like, check this video out. You want some J6 footage? See this? You said it's not violent. You said it's not violent. What do you call this?
Multiple capital injuries. Multiple capital injuries.
He said a thing that said injuries.
Look how violent they are. All those Trumpers.
Again, very clearly just a mashup of the violent moments in there. And there's 30 seconds of it. And that's what she's like, oh, you think those 40,000 hours are going to disprove something? Look at this 30-second clip that I got to post and tell me it wasn't violent. I don't think anybody's saying it wasn't violent at times. I think what they're saying is, it's not what you're saying it is.
Right. Yeah.
And we should be allowed to see the other moments where they are getting fist bumps and high fives and being escorted through the place, not just your 30-second mashup.
Right.
That explains the whole narrative of the whatever 4 or 5 hours that transpired.
It looks like a video for Rage Against the Machine.
it does. Derek says, now remove all the feds from that footage and let's have another look.
Yeah, right.
That's probably exactly true. It's like, how many of them were feds? I mean, you get some people, like some Trump supporters that were like, oh, it was definitely Antifa. It wasn't Trump support. I don't even know if I believe in Antifa as a thing at this point. But I do believe that it was probably a large majority feds. Whatever this Antifa organization was probably feds as well.
Right. Be like, hey, you know what you should do? Throw this at that window.
So she says, here's some January 6th footage for you, and shared a clip of that video.
Yeah.
That's what she showed, and that's her argument.
She gets on my damn nerves.
Now, that Mike Lee gets on her post and comments, and I think I like what he said. He says, Liz, we've seen footage like this a million times. You made sure we saw that and nothing else. It's the other stuff that you deliberately hid from us that we find so upsetting. Nice try. P.S. How many of these guys are feds? He said exactly what Derek said. It's like, how many of these are fed boys? However, the former congresswoman fired back and wrote, hey, based Mike Lee, heads up, a nutball conspiracy theorist appears to be posting from your account. Wow, that was
yeah, that's burn.
Oh shit. The exchange follows a current call from Lee for an investigation into the now defunct bipartisan J6 House Select Committee, accusing former and current lawmakers who served on the committee of deliberately hiding some footage from the Capitol riot. So now this Mike Lee is like, we need to have another look at this. We need to have another J6 committee. He says, why didn't Liz Cheney and Adam Kissinger ever refer to any of these tapes? Maybe they never looked for them. Maybe they never even questioned their own narrative. Maybe they were just too busy selectively leaking the text messages of Republicans they wanted to defeat.
Right.
Cheney, who has been amongst the most prominent GOP critics of Trump, served on the committee investigating the riot in detail, along with former Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger of Illinois. In December 2022, the committee published an 845-page report that said Trump was personally responsible for the riot and recommended he face criminal charges based on his statement, we need to go to the Capitol and fight like hell. And they're like, yep, he was responsible. Trump was indicted on 4 counts in August by the Department of Justice in relation to the riot, including conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, conspiracy against rights.
Against rights.
What is a conspiracy against rights? I didn't know that was a charge.
That's right.
I feel like they're making up things throughout. Conspiracy against your rights and conspiracy against democracy, conspiracy against
hair
freedom.
stylist.
Yes. Trump has pled not guilty and said the case against him is politically motivated and remains the front runner for the 2024 GOP presidential nomination. So, what do you think about her statement?
She drives
Liz
me crazy.
Cheney.
I mean, she obviously has an agenda. Like you said, she has a personal vendetta against Trump, right? I'm sure her daddy was like, don't make sure he doesn't become president again because
She's probably pissed he didn't take us into enough wars because
probably, yeah.
Her daddy, Daddy Warbucks over there.
Yeah, was like, we need more wars. Halliburton needs us.
Yes. How the fuck did we get this guy as a Republican?
Yeah.
And he's not starting more wars.
Yeah.
He hasn't pulled us out of any of the wars, but he's not starting any new fuck. Did he say he's trying to get peace in the Middle East? Fuck that guy. You go after that guy.
Yeah, right. He needs to go away.
Yeah, when he heard Trump was forming peace deals in the Middle East, that's when he died.
Yeah.
He just died. Like his warmongering life just left his body.
Yeah.
And he's just fucking
like, I'm gonna go duck hunting.
Yes. So Liz Cheney and this Mike Lee guy.
Yeah.
Mike Lee seems like kind of the Marjorie Taylor Greene, conspiracy,
kind of that
leading
vein,
conspiracy theory type guy. We're going to get into break here in a second, but I want to talk about some of the conspiracy theories when I come back. But I just want to start with this. Like Mike Lee is one that have you seen this picture of he came out and he's just like, how many are feds? Look at this guy. He's flashing an FBI badge. I guess I got to pull this up for y'all to see, not just me.
I was looking.
Like this guy walks by the camera and pulls something out, and they're like, this guy's flashing an FBI badge. Obviously, there's Fed boys there. Now, a little bit of research will tell you that that's not an FBI badge because, it is known to this point, even before the leaked footage, that this guy was carrying a vape into the Capitol.
So he's flashing his vape.
Yeah, you see the video, he just holds up like, no, it's not a gun, it's just a vape or something like that. Like me being a vapor, I can recognize that's a square battery pack and that's a glass tank on top of it. Now, you still get people like that Mike Lee that are like, oh, he's flashing an FBI, and it's like, do a little bit of research before you start posting this shit, especially as a politician, like one of the leaders of this country, especially if you're trying to make forward advancement. Maybe don't post the most easily debunked thing out there, because it pisses me off, because then everything else is just like all these videos now, it doesn't matter what's in them, they're going to be like, well, and I've seen the articles. I think I actually have one where they're like 44,000 hours of videotape is just bringing in all these far right conspiracy theories. And what's the one that they go to point out that all these debunked conspiracy theories, like this guy holding a vape, and that's the only thing they point at. But that's all they fucking need to point out. It's just like debunk conspiracy theory. Yeah. This is it's all just far right conspiracy theories. It's like, do your fucking homework so you can do us a little bit of service here and not make us all look like fucking idiots.
Make it look like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Because this one says right wing. This is from Forbes. Says right-wing loyalists of former President Trump are using newly released footage of the J6 Capitol riots to further a debunked narrative that law enforcement orchestrated the attacks in order to distract from election fraud. The latest far-right conspiracy intended to downplay Trump supporters' role in the insurrection. It talks about all this shit, him releasing stuff. Right-wing social media users are amplifying questionable interpretations of some clips, claiming they show law enforcement officials helping rioters storm the Capitol. Amplifying questionable interpretation. There's no interpretation of what was happening there when they are like fist bumping and high fives and opening doors for them, not bothering to stop them, standing there lollygagging as they walk by. I don't care what else happened. That's not them amplifying questionable interpretation. No, that's just what happened. Says, and some FBI officials acting as insurrectionists, coining the term Fedsurrection. One video that's making its rounds on Twitter shows convicted rioter Kevin Lyons walking through security in the Capitol while raising an object in his hand that far-right social media users, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, claim his law enforcement badge, though it's unclear what he's holding. Some have argued it's actually a vaping device, and it very clearly to me, if you look at it, it looks like a vape. But again, that's really the only conspiracy theory they bring up.
Right.
But the whole article is supposedly launching wild conspiracies from the far right. And that's the only debunked one that they mention in there. They talk about like Trump's statements and stuff like that and other unrelated things to this. But then they're like, but then the title is just like, obviously with people short attention spans that we have right now, all you got to do is read the headlines are like, oh, these wild conspiracy theories, and maybe get through the first paragraph. It's like, oh shit, that wasn't an FBI guy at all. And then all the rest goes out the window. And now you're forever like in your head, it's like, oh, all these 44,000 videos are just misinterpretations by far right conspiracy theorists. That's
just
all it is.
Trying to push their own story through.
Right. So I want to get into some of the other conspiracy, like some other stuff has come out in the days leading up to this leak.
Yeah.
Like some stories about like Ray Epps, for example, or, you know, or some other things like that. And I'm just like, why is this all coming out now? And is this 44,000 to distract from maybe that other stuff that's coming out now? Or is this all coming out now to distract from something totally different? So obviously we got to talk about the conspiracy theory side of it. But first we need to go to break because it's break time. So we're going to take 3 or 4 minutes, go refresh your drink and do whatever you dirty humans do during this time. And we'll be back. We're going to talk about some of the conspiracies surrounding this and probably get kicked off YouTube for it.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And then we'll just see what we think, how we think this plays out at the end, obviously. So we're going to be right back in just a couple minutes. Goodbye.
Bye.
Take a moment and remember the feeling. When they called you not essential. When they dictated what you could do, where you could go, how you could breathe. It's disgusting, isn't it? And they're trying to do it again. We've seen what happens when the people lose control. When politicians and unelected bureaucrats make the big decisions on our behalf, whether we like them or not. When the choices are taken away from us one by one. We've seen what happens when they strip away medical freedom. When they trample on informed consent. When they dismiss our cries of justice. They laughed at us. They called us names.
Rest in peace, Wheezy.
Them, their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
And they shamed us for not going along with their every demand. Enough already. It's time to hold these tyrants accountable. In the midst of them trying to do it again, this wasn't a public health measure. This was an act of war against a peaceful people. But a reckoning is coming, and we're leading the charge. This campaign is for all of us. I'm asking you to join this movement that's for every single person who felt the crushing weight of mandates, the sting of being called unessential, the pain of having your liberties stripped away. I'm Joshua Smith, and I'm running because you are essential, and because our freedoms are non-negotiable. Not last time, not this time, not ever again.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good.
We faced the challenges. We felt the pain, but we're not defeated. Together, we have the power to create a brighter future, one where liberty thrives and tyranny dies. I endorse prosecuting the COVID tyrants and using Guantanamo Bay to lock them away for their crimes against humanity. In the face of all of this happening again, where they think we're stupid enough to fall for it, in 2024, a vote for me is a vote for vengeance. Go to joshuasmith2024.com to find out how you can help.
just like that, we're back. Any insurrections happening while we're gone?
No, I was looking.
Yeah, did you find it?
No, not around here.
That's sad. We never get good insurrections here.
I know.
Kind of sucks.
When was the last time we had a good insurrection?
A couple days ago, apparently, but they won't call it that. Like protesters,
the pro-Palestinian one.
Yeah, they were fucking shit up. Not quite to that level, but
because that supports their agenda.
So, do you think this is everything the media played it out to be? So I see so many people on Twitter, because I was like looking at read through comments on Twitter, which is the healthy thing to do, is read through comments on Twitter.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
Like, you're in a healthy relationship with social media when you're reading through comments on Twitter.
Yeah. When you can joke about them, that's when it's healthy.
So I was reading through them, and there's people that'd be like, it's like, you can keep your 40,000 videotapes. That doesn't change anything. We watched it unfold in real time. It's just like, yeah, but you probably don't remember exactly what. You probably didn't. You probably didn't turn it on until they were storming the ice.
Right.
That's when I turned it on. I was just like, oh shit, a thing's happening. Crap. And and your memory probably, like, you've been played that same 30-second clip that Liz Cheney posted for the last 3 years, and that's all their minds remember because it's been burned in their fucking minds for the last.
It's like, again, as we've talked about with Pelosi's place or Vegas, it's like with all the cameras around there, and all they showed was the same footage over and over.
It's kind of like 9/11.
Right. Yeah. We're back there.
We're back there. We got to go back there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, I did see the underwear attacker, Paul Pelosi's underwear hammer time guy. He was sentenced, I think, this week. So he's going to spend some time
I saw
in jail.
that Paul Pelosi was out. He was just finally talking about the incident.
Oh, he can finally make it public?
Yes, I'm sure he didn't get to the point where,
he was banging the dude.
Yeah, and it went bad.
So, back.
We're definitely getting kicked off.
Back to January 6th. So, back to Liz Cheney's video, the 30-second clip of all the violence that
Rage Against the Machine.
I agree, it probably did happen.
Yeah.
Now, is it possible that all that violence happened and it wasn't necessarily instigated by the J6 people? Is that a potential?
Absolutely.
Can we say that though without getting kicked off? Probably not.
Probably not. But yes, I think that's accurate.
Because I stumbled across this article. This is the first article I stumbled across about these J6 videos. It's from Zero Hedge, and it says, new J6 footage shows Capitol Police may have incited the riot by firing munitions into a peaceful crowd. Do you think that is a possibility?
Yeah, I do.
Well, to say it's not, like, to say it's just outside the realm of possibility, you would have to, totally question, which we do, everything that happened during the Black Lives Matter riots.
Yes.
Because, you can't on one hand say that the police would never do that, and then on the other hand say the police are totally responsible for all of this. You just can't. Well, these are the good police, obviously, because they're the Capitol Police, and they're the Capitol Police protecting against the insurrectionists.
Right.
So, but I feel like if there is a little more than zero evidence to prove that the Capitol Police may have allowed some of these individuals into the building, there's probably a little more than zero evidence to prove that they may or may not have incited the violence as well.
Yes.
This says House Speaker Mike Johnson released 40,000 hours. Everyone's going to start off that way. The latest footage shows Capitol Police inviting protesters into the building. We already watched that. We already discussed that. Let's scroll down to this other part. It says, however, what about what happened before the riots started? Did they happen spontaneously, or were they incited? New video clips seem to show Capitol Police firing rubber bullets, tear gas grenades, and stun grenades into crowds of peaceful protesters on January 6th before anyone even tried to enter the Capitol building, possibly triggering the violence that would follow and and creating the footage that was played ad nauseum on major networks and on Liz Cheney's Twitter account as proof of an insurrection. So I've got that video, obviously.
Yeah.
This one's upsetting to me.
Yeah, you sent this one to me.
I have given warnings about chemical munitions. I need the less than lethal team position above me to start deploying. Launch.
Now you see an unruly crowd there.
Yeah.
But does it look like any of them are attempting to storm at this point?
Yeah, nothing looks like a concert.
Rowdy, yeah, they're rowdy protesters. I mean, they're loud.
But they're not
probably
violent. They're
probably screaming shit at the cops, like
probably,
"fuck you, pig,"
yeah,
stuff like that. But not so much.
But they're not.
Rowdy.
Yeah, they're not breaking shit.
Hey, walk up to the front of the fucking line.
This guy got shot through the cheek with a non-lethal rubber bullet. That looks disgusting.
Yeah, no shit, man.
I mean,
good thing it was non-lethal.
If we were protesting, even if we're kind of loud and obnoxious, and shit started getting shot at me, I'd get a little pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Right.
I mean, obviously I'm a terrorist.
Right.
So that would clearly happen, but I get a little pissed off.
Yeah, show these cops what they just did to
You gotta turn around. We need more fucking munitions. Let's go. Fucking shoot it. Go.
Still nobody has. Still, like, you can see the Capitol steps there.
Yeah.
Nobody up
Storming.
them.
Yeah.
That I can tell, except there's police officers up on the steps to the Capitol. And they got their bicycle helmets, so that's good on them.
Oh, yeah.
Up here, trying to get through
They are starting to throw concussion grenades into this crowd.
They were shouting USA.
They are
bastards.
climbing. They are climbing on the scaffolding out by it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're supposed to be on that, but still, look at the
Isn't that why
steps.
scaffolding's there?
Look at the Capitol steps.
Yep.
Still nobody there.
No.
Nobody on them. The police officers have not allowed them in yet. And they're just throwing concussion grenades.
Flashbangs on us.
Like, there's one section in a second where this guy just is just lobbing them. Like, just throwing them one after another after another. Let me see if I can find that guy. Shooting just tear gas canisters into the crowd. What does this say?
They're shooting into their own people. We're supposed to be supporting Blue Lives Matter. We represent Blue Lives, and this is what they do to us.
Yeah, maybe you should have thought about that right when you were supporting Blue Lives Matter. All right, this is the guy with a pocket full of concussion grenades. Still nobody on the Capitol steps. Just throwing them undiscriminately into the crowd.
Right. Doesn't know who he's hitting. There could be kids and babies.
Yeah. Oh, let's do another one. How many does this guy keep in his pockets?
Cargo shorts.
He's like, I'm going to throw all of them right now. Maybe that's why they were able to get up the steps, because he ran out of grenades because he threw them all in the first 10 seconds.
President beat his ass.
And another one.
I love the smell of napalm
as
in the
he's
morning.
throwing one, he's taking another one out.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the grenade guy.
Yeah.
I have been designated the grenade
Been on
guy.
this job for 20 years, and this is the first time I get to do this.
Right. Now, watching this video, still nobody on the past the barricades.
So I wonder, like, at what point do they like, okay, we threw stun guns or gas, tear gas,
Still
shot
throwing.
him with
This guy
pellets.
is still throwing.
You know what? Let's just let him in.
Right. Like, this clearly ain't working. Let's go. See, I have a difficult time understanding what all is going on.
Yeah.
When in one video you see police letting him in, and in another video you see police clearly the ones escalating the violence before anybody even tried to get to the Capitol
USA,
steps.
and they start opening fire.
Let me
on
get
them.
to the end of this video. I forgot about the guy at the end. Did you watch this video at all?
I didn't get this far into it.
All right, let me see. I need to find the end of the video. Shows police like beating the shit out of people. Here. Beating the shit out of a guy. Look at that. They're just throwing more shit into the crowd.
Yeah, but somehow Liz Cheney missed this footage.
She did, and I don't know why. Like, listen to this guy. This guy says so much in so very little time.
If they'd never thrown the concussion grenades, if they'd never used the pepper spray, this wouldn't have happened. It was a peaceful protest. I was standing within 15 feet of the line of officers. They started firing at us before anybody did anything to them. We were not rushing them. There was no advance on them. They just started throwing concussion grenades and pepper spray.
So you think maybe there's a chance that if that the violence that we're not saying didn't happen,
right?
But maybe there's a chance that it was instigated by
a little bit, yeah, yeah.
Like, it makes you wonder. Like on one side of the building, this guy is saying, "Do something about this. This should not be happening." While they're standing there, and at a different point before it even started happening, they're just it's like they instigated it all, and then they're like, "All right, let's see what happens from here."
All right, yeah, let's
not stop them.
Yeah, right.
Let's get them like insane,
right?
Like super.
Let's
like,
shake the bees in the jar.
First of all, you've got these really pissed off, but relatively, I would say, peaceful. Nothing was on fire. Nothing was being. I'm not saying this like mostly peaceful protest while shit's on fire in the background, like BLM. This, I mean, it was unruly, but I felt like it was what you would consider a peaceful rally.
Yeah, yeah.
From what I could tell in that video. Again, we only can know what we see.
Yeah.
And but they're pissed off. They've been pissed off before. That's why they're there. They're pissed off about the election results. They're pissed off that their guy didn't win.
Yeah.
They feel cheated out of this. Let's get these pissed off, like super like testosterone dudes and vets and stuff. Let's just start throwing grenades at them and shooting them with rubber bullets for
shits and giggles.
Who knows what reason?
Yeah.
And then see what happens. Then step back and let them in.
Yeah.
And see what happens from there.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's almost what it seems like. It's like you said, we got a jar of hornets, let's shake it, and then let's open it up and see what happens.
It's like they're sitting back, they're like, man, this crowd's not getting out of hand fast enough. Like, we expected so much more out of this.
Let's try getting them going. Hey, let's throw some grenades over there.
Yeah, let's yes, they're pissed and they're getting angry and stuff, but they're not angry enough to do. They're not doing the damage we want them to. We can't get the footage for Liz Cheney's Twitter
Rage Against
channel.
the Machine Twitter.
So let's start throwing grenades and shooting rubber bullets and tear gas,
and then we'll film them,
and then film them as we step aside and let them just wreak havoc across the building. And then some of them were like, let's just take a stroll through here. And
the gates are open, right?
So I don't know. You think that's kind of a conspiracy theory there that the police may have instigated some of the riots, or you think there's enough evidence to maybe point at that?
I think there's enough evidence that points towards that.
This is the video that when I saw this, I'm like, we are fucked.
Yeah.
When Trump supporters see
that's
this,
the one you sent me.
Fucked. And like, I haven't seen the riots yet, but I feel like they have to be coming.
Right.
Like any Trump supporter, if they're still that mindset, if there are still those crazy, which I know there are still the crazy Trump supporters out there. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
Sees this video of Trump supporters getting shot and grenades thrown at them and then being accused of being the violent insurrectionists, that would just piss them off, I would think.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they want releasing this footage too. They're like, you know what, a Trump supporter hasn't been pissed off in a while.
Right.
Maybe we should release this footage.
Yeah. They're trying to incarcerate Trump, but that's not quite going the way they want. He's still running for president, leading the polls. You know what? Let's get his people pissed off again.
Right.
We need to remind people why Trump is so dangerous.
Maybe Mike Johnson's really on the other side. He's a plant from the other side. It's just like, you go in and piss them all off. Or maybe they're just pissed at Mike Johnson for releasing it all at one time because nobody's going to go through it. They're like, we were saving that to release
That's
little
5
by
years.
Yeah, little by little. Every time the Trump supporters start
Yeah.
to die back down, we release something else, get them pissed off again, start another insurrection.
I think it's, I think Mike Johnson he's a Trump guy.
Right.
And I think that he's trying to kind of clear the Trump supporters' names, but at the same time remind people why they should be pissed off.
Yeah. Let's look at some more of the conspiracy theory stuff that has kind of made the news this week, even before the 40,000 hours of video came out. Now, here's another representative. That's not it. Actually, let's watch this one first. This one will tickle your fancy because it involves access control. And so you can understand what's going on here,
Okay.
or at least what they're saying is going on here. Watch this guy. This guy comes in. We don't need the audio. He comes in, attempts to pull open a door. So this is a Trump supporter that got in from another way. And there's
Okay.
a ton of Trump supporters on the other side of this door.
Yeah.
This guy attempts to open this door. And it clearly doesn't open.
Right.
Why do you think it doesn't open?
Because it's locked.
It's probably got a mag lock on it. He can't open it. And they say it's because there's a magnetic lock. Watch him. He looks up, points at the door, talks to somebody. This guy comes in, looks up, is like saying the same thing. He points at the door. He's like, are you going to fucking open this shit or what? You said you're going to open the doors for us. All of a sudden, the door opens.
Huh.
What do you make of that?
That's bizarre.
I mean, the door clearly won't open.
Right.
It's not like he has a Trump supporter up there, like super hacker up there, like hacking into the door system. It's like,
Right.
here, open the doors. He's clearly talking like he goes to the door. It doesn't open. It can't open. He goes to both sides. He points at the door, looks up at something. Pretty much, you can almost read his lips. Like, are you going to open this fucking door for us or what? This door is supposed to be open. And then all of a sudden, the door comes open.
Yeah.
But no evidence to show that somebody from the inside was allowing this to happen. Because how, I mean, I don't know how to explain this other than somebody fucking unlocked the door for
Right.
them. Because even if there was like a push button or something, it wouldn't be up wherever he's looking up at.
Right.
He's probably looking at the security cameras footage. This guy is probably a fucking Fed, is what I think. Well, that guy with the green pack that you clearly got a good look of, that guy hasn't even showed up on the FBI's watch
Right,
list. He hasn't
yes.
been arrested or anything like that. So who are these people?
Yeah.
And how is this allowed to happen? Again, things that make you scratch your head. I just got a kick out of it because it was mag locks. And
Right,
That's what we do. Derek says he should have pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
that would have released the door.
Yeah, that clearly those are very like hard to decipher between fire alarms and
yeah, right.
door release switches. Maybe that one guy did pull the fire alarm and it opened the door.
Yeah, right.
I don't fucking know. I don't know. So that was one of the conspiracies. Let me pull up. I think this is it. This one is interesting. Have you heard of the ghost buses?
No.
Now, I kind of heard about this, like plain white buses that just showed up at a certain point and just dropped off like thousands of people and then just disappeared and nobody knows where these buses came from. What's interesting is a representative is questioning this now. Just a few days ago, before all this footage released, he's like, they were having some sort of hearing or something about this, and he's like, can you talk to us about the ghost buses? And I don't have that video, but he was questioning somebody, and the guy, somebody from the FBI, he's like, what about these FBI ghost buses? And the guy was like, I don't know what this term is that you are using. Like, he couldn't figure out. It says Clay Higgins claims ghost buses. That's hard to say because I want to say Ghostbusters.
I know. I thought
brought
Ghostbuster.
FBI informants to D.C. on January 6th. Mysterious white buses unloaded dozens of FBI informants near the Capitol on the morning of J6, according to a new conspiracy theory from Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana. During a hearing with FBI Director Christopher Wray on Wednesday, Higgins displayed a picture, and I have that picture. This is what he showed. This is him pointing at the picture of these like unmarked white buses that he claims from inside the Union Station parking garage on January 6th, and asked if Ray was familiar with ghost buses. A ghost bus, Ray said. I'm not sure I've ever used that term before. Now, he's not denying that they existed.
Right, yeah.
He's just like, well, I want to call them
Very
ghost
political
buses.
answer, yeah. I
Yeah,
have not heard
I know
that term.
that's because I did see the clip and I forgot to add it, but it's like a ghost bus. I'm not sure I've used that before. It's like, we don't call them those.
Yeah, right.
No, we've never had ghost buses because we've never called anything a ghost bus
We don't
before.
use that term.
Higgins, an Army vet and former police officer, said ghost vehicles are used for secret purposes. He pointed to the picture of buses in the garage and noted they were painted completely white, as though that were an unusual way for buses to look. These buses are nefarious in nature and were filled with FBI informants dressed as Trump supporters deployed onto our Capitol on January 6th, Higgins said. Your day is coming, Mr. Ray. Now, what they don't say in this article is Mr. Ray is not allowed to answer the question because Mr. Higgins' time ran up for the question. And then somebody on the other side, like, point of order, he's out of time. And the chairman of whatever this meeting was like, now you got to realize we've allowed people on the other side to go overtime too. So I'm not being unfair by letting him go overtime. And they're like, well, we're not saying you're being unfair. He's like, yeah, so we allowed you guys to have an extra minute. But Mr. Higgins, your time is up. And doesn't let him finish the sentence, and nobody gets to answer the question. I'm like, what the motherfuckers?
I know. Someone says ghost buses, that doesn't pique your curiosity.
Yeah, you're
it's
not
like, whoa, I want to hear this.
You can't just be like, yeah, your time's up, but please answer the question.
I want to hear what a ghost bus is.
This guy is under fucking oath being asked about a ghost bus, and you're not going to be like, let's hear this thing out.
Right?
We'll let this play. We'll give you guys 3 extra minutes. Yeah. Just let him answer.
That's
the question.
like getting like the end of A Few Good Men. He's like, you want answers? I want the truth, but you're out of time.
Derek says, no ghost buses. Covert transportation vehicle? Oh, yeah, we have those.
Yeah, exactly.
He just pulling like a Bill Clinton. It's like,
yeah.
You didn't ask me about covert transportation vehicles. You asked me about ghost buses, and we've never called anything a ghost bus. It's like, Jesus Christ. You know what he's saying.
Right.
So I again, like they point out, it's not that unusual to have a white bus.
Yeah.
But I have heard stories about like vans pulling up in the middle of this and people getting out and just like running to the front. I don't know how, like I haven't seen videos of this, but I've heard of it where the vans pull up, unmarked vans, people get out, kind of run to the front and instigate the shit and start. They're definitely the chair up shit type. They're not I'm pissed off because my buddy over here got blasted with a freaking concussion grenade. So let's
they're the ones that show up after everybody get blasted.
These are like, let's fuck shit up.
Yeah,
and people like,
it's like, but we're peaceful, man.
Right, exactly. So there's the ghost bus conspiracy. There's obviously the police instigation conspiracy stuff out there. Have you heard about do you remember the gallows that were set up? Do you remember seeing gallows in pictures? I do remember but they haven't talked about it in a while. Now, it's interesting. This just came up as a story again, too, about the same time, before the footage was released. There was like a makeshift gallows, like on the property.
Weird.
And apparently that showed up early in the morning before it was even light out, long before a Trump speech ever happened, long before the protests ever happened. This just shows up on the Capitol property, and nobody thought to take this shit down. And nobody knows. Nobody can point with all the cameras around the Capitol. Nobody can find who did this. And none of the police were like, yeah, we should probably take that shit down because what if there's an actual lynching here?
Yeah, right.
There's no way this could possibly go wrong. Because this article popped up on, I think it was the 17th, so a few days before, or the 16th, 15th or 16th, like 3 or 4 days before, a couple days before the video dump came out. And I don't know why this is making headlines now. Like, why are all these like things popping up now? Says in the early morning of January 6th, a group of unnamed and unidentified individuals were seen unloading and transporting materials to assemble the infamous gallows that became the subject of numerous photographs during the protests. According to surveillance videos obtained by Patriot Freedom Project from the House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight, the unidentified individuals built the gallows in plain view on the National Mall in front of the U.S. Capitol building. Despite the full resource of law enforcement being deployed against thousands of individuals for participation in January 6, many charged with only misdemeanors, the builders of the gallows remains unidentified. Photos of the gallows were included in the public hearings of the committee regarding the J6 riot and tied to right-wing movements by the media like New York Times. Ed Martin, an attorney who represents the J6 defendants, released the footage after obtaining it from the House Administration Committee's Subcommittee on Oversight. Dude, can we get an acronym or something?
Yeah, right.
On Wednesday, Martin said on the Just the News No Noise TV show that after reviewing the footage, we figured out that 4 guys set up the gallows at 6:30 in the morning on January 6th. It was a very serious production that moved it out of a truck across on wheels. They came back and forth. And more importantly than anything, as some of the images you have up show, they went to get coffee at about 7 in the morning. They went to the only coffee shop open at that time, which happens to be right next to Georgetown Law School, but it's also right across from FBI headquarters in D.C. Something about this doesn't smell right, Martin said. Martin represents the J6 defendants and serves as a board member of the Patriot Freedom Project. Blah, 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 blah. Martin believes the gallows were constructed by those wishing to paint President Trump and his supporters in a bad light. Specifically, Martin wonders why police didn't stop its construction. So far, there's no evidence to support Martin's claims. What do you mean, no evidence to... Like, there's
fucking
video...
gallows.
Okay, there's video footage.
Yeah.
That showed up on the lawn. Like, I guess there is the claim that he's like, I wonder if this is somebody that was not a Trump supporter that would put this up to make Trump supporters look bad. I guess there's maybe not evidence to support that claim, but everything else he said, like, you can't say there's no evidence to support his claims. Okay, there's video of these 4 suspicious guys at 6:30 in the morning, long before the shit even like was a thing.
Yeah.
Setting up gallows on the Capitol Mall.
Yeah.
And leaving.
Yeah.
And potentially going for coffee across from the FBI headquarters. And then this thing just stayed on the property for the next, 5-6 hours?
Yeah.
Nobody was just like, maybe we should deconstruct that.
Nobody
Maybe.
wondered. Nobody wanted to pull up footage of them putting this up.
Oh, they probably were like, let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, like they did the whole day.
Like they did when they were throwing concussion grenades. Let's see how this
shooting
thing
with
plays
rubber
out.
pellets.
Let's see how this gas canister being shot at people's heads plays out. Let's see how this noose, this gallows, I mean, it's going to look great in photo. Like they might have been like, even if this doesn't get out of hand, we're going to get a great shot of protesters in front of a gallows.
Yeah.
So we can air. And again, they said that they showed this picture during the committees, during the trials for these people, but no evidence or anything to say who even set these fucking things up. To say that a Trump supporter, there's nothing, because you haven't caught the people yet, so you can't even say that a Trump supporter set this up. Maybe it was an anti-Trump supporter that's like, we're going to hang all the Trump supporters.
It could have been ABC News being like, hey, let's put this up to make Trump supporters.
It's going to be a really cool backdrop for this protest.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be like the French Revolution.
Or maybe if we set this up, this could go one of 2 ways. It'll be a great photo op to make it look like Trump supporters want to hang somebody. But it also might, the Trump supporters might show up and see this gallows and think that this is an anti-protester, like saying they're going to hang the Trump supporters, and that'll piss them off and make them
right.
Either way, we're going to get what we want out of this thing.
And not say anything and let people come to their own inferences.
Derek says was the left that did it. It would have been, if it was the left that did it, it would have been considered a piece of art. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Surveillance camera footage posted publicly under the title J6 Special Collection shows a trio of unidentified individuals arriving under the cover of darkness on the morning of J6. The trio can be seen crossing the street with a cart of wooden beams in tow and moving to upload their cargo in the grass in front of the Capitol, reflecting Capitol reflecting pool near Pennsylvania Avenue. Yeah, this just says all the other things. It says, I mean, there's some pretty clear images, and I would make an argument is that the FBI has gone after other people with less evidence, or at least put more effort into an investigation than what it appears they have done here. So they're like, we put more people in jail for less evidence than we have against these people that construct. Like, clearly something's wrong here or something suspicious here when you haven't arrested those people, but you're arresting these people that happen to touch a sign.
Right.
Now, that brings me to my last conspiracy theory point, which is Ray Epps. You remember Ray Epps?
Oh yeah.
Let's see if I have his. This is Ray Epps. Here's Ray Epps. Remember this guy? He's clearly not a Fed. Hasn't served a day in jail yet.
No.
This is the guy that was the night before was hanging out in like a street party or something. It was like, we're gonna go to the Capitol. We like that's where this all changes. Like, we got to go to the Capitol. We need to storm the Capitol. And he's just like getting all the like. There's so many people that are just like. Wasn't there somebody that's like, he's a Fed?
Yeah.
He's a Fed. This guy's a Fed.
Yeah.
and so he moved on to the next people. And he's like going around to all these people and saying, we're going to go to the Capitol. It's that way.
Yeah.
Remember, he's like, Capitol's that way, guys. We're going to the Capitol.
Yeah.
And then there's videos. Why I keep saying touched a sign. There's videos. So there was this incident where there's this giant Trump sign with like, there's like a vinyl sign with like a metal frame, like a big ass, like 20-footer or something. And all these people are like body surfing it towards the police barricades and then kind of like shove it into the police. And anybody that there is evidence of them touching that sign, just touching it. Like there was one guy whose hand went up to keep it like from falling on him. They touched that sign. They got charged with assault on the police officers.
Huh.
Except for Mr. Epps, who there is clear videos of him not just touching the sign, but shoving the sign, pointing towards the police like, oh, we got to shove it that way, guys, and like shoving the sign. This guy, he has been charged with some minor stuff, but at most he might get like 6 months in jail.
Right.
When there's people that touch that sign that are sitting in jail for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And this guy clearly did so much more than just even push that sign. He's like, he did more to instigate the shit than Trump did by saying, we got to go to the Capitol and fight like hell. This guy was like, let's go, guys. We got to go that way. And he's like shoving through barricades. He's like riling people up, even at the Trump rally that was like a couple blocks away. But here's an interesting article that just came up within the last couple days because all this shit's coming up now. On January 6th, Ray Epps lied and told this Jeremy Rogers guy and his friends that Trump was going to the Capitol to speak after his rally there. He's going around tells this guy, hey, Trump's going to go to the Capitol after this. And now that guy is being threatened with years in prison and his children are traumatized. The FBI raided his house because he was at the Capitol at the time.
Of course.
Why was he at the Capitol?
Because Ray Epps told him to.
Because Ray Epps wasn't like, hey, we're going to storm the Capitol. He was like, you like what he's saying here. You should wait till he goes and speaks at the Capitol.
Yeah.
So I'm going to read this one. This one's fucked.
I think he's inside. Let's go inside.
This guy's totally not a Fed, though, guys. Totally not a Fed. It's been just debunked that this guy's a Fed.
Sure.
He even said he's not a Fed.
No, good.
And I think they had to slap him with a little bit of charge because remember how many years we're like, why hasn't this guy been fucking charged yet? Well, like within the last like 6 months, like actually, guys, he has been charged with like
misdemeanor or disorderly conduct.
Probably. It says on January 6, 2021, Jeremy Rogers and his friends went to D.C. to hear President Donald Trump speak to his supporters. During Trump's speech at the Ellipse, Jeremy and his friends stepped back from the massive crowd of 1 million+ Trump supporters so they could smoke a cigar. When they were standing away from the crowd near the Washington Monument, Ray Epps came up and told Jeremy and his friends that President Trump was going to speak at the U.S. Capitol later that day. Now, Jeremy, a father and husband with 2 young sons, is facing years in prison for the trumped-up charges against him by Joe Biden's Department of Justice. So this is Jeremy Rogers speaking. He says, so as Trump was speaking, and if you were there, it was very crowded. The group that I was with We all enjoy occasionally smoking cigars, and we had brought some cigars with us, but we didn't want to light up in the middle of the crowd. We thought that would be rude. So we made our way to the edge of the crowd near the Washington Monument, the side of the monument closest to the Capitol building. The crowd was from the ellipse all the way to the monument itself, blah, blah, blah. He says we almost had to go to the street before we were on the edge of the crowd. It was that big. So we started smoking our cigars. We were just talking, and we could still hear Trump in his speech, and we're interested in what he's saying, but just trying to be respectful of others, and smoked our cigars on the edge of the crowd. And we noticed a gentleman who I know now is to be Ray Epps, basically working the side of the crowd, encouraging people to head towards the Capitol because Trump was going to be speaking there shortly. And Ray Epps stopped and talked to my group as well and told us the same thing. He says, well, we started just walking. We were admiring some of the buildings and architecture. We stopped walking, looking for bathrooms because bathrooms are difficult to find, blah, blah. So it sounds like he's like, oh, we don't have to stick around for this speech. We're just going to head to the Capitol to hear that speech later on. We might as well get a good front row spot. Let's go ahead and start heading that way. Says Jeremy and his friends would have never gone to the Capitol if they had not run into Ray Epps. It makes you wonder how many more people would say the same thing about Epps lying and steering them to the U.S. Capitol.
No shit.
Nearly 2 years had passed when Jeremy had a visit by the FBI at his work. Jeremy was fired that day right before Christmas. Jeremy is a father of 2 young boys. So 2 years later, FBI shows up on his doorstep. Weeks and months went by. When the FBI raided his home at 6 a.m. on a June morning, Jeremy was in Florida working. He has never been arrested or in trouble with the law. FBI agents drew loaded guns on his wife and infant son.
Jeez.
The raid had seriously impacted the psychological well-being of her children, blah, blah, blah. That's the wife speaking. It says Jeremy turned himself in days later. The Biden regime filed 9 outrageous charges against him. Since his arrest, Jeremy was offered a deal by the wicked people who want to destroy him and his family. He turned it down. Yeah, it's a good thing he turned it down because he'd probably be the one that was slapped with terrorist charge on top of that, too.
Shit.
What do you think of that one?
Yeah, that's some bullshit, man.
Of all the shit that you already knew about Ray Epps.
Yeah.
This guy got around that day.
Yeah.
But just to get slapped himself with like 2 or 3 months, this guy did more than probably 20 of the defendants I've seen that have been charged. Which, like, this guy wasn't just like instigating it. He was clearly part of it. There's so much video footage of this guy, like, oh, he was where the sign went. Oh, he's pushing down barricades. He was shoving past the cops. You can see him going up the Capitol steps into like restricted area. And it's like, how is this guy not fucking charged with terrorism too?
Right. Yeah.
Unless
he's a Fed.
He's a Fed, which we all know that this guy's a fucking Fed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that guy's still alive, first of all.
Oh, I am too. I'm surprised he's not floating.
They
in
probably
the
charged him so they could put him in. They're like, oh, he's going away to jail. They probably put him in protective custody
I'm
somewhere
sure. Yeah.
because
you disappear and no one will ever hear from him again.
So all this going on. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants justice, and so does like that Lee guy. Like they all want a new select committee, blah, 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 blah. Now, news outlets are saying that this could spectacularly backfire on Trump supporters, on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and blah, blah, blah. Sure. They're like, well, this is gonna backfire on Trump supporters. They want all this shit to come out, but all it's gonna do is prove how bad this was. How violent this was. It's just gonna prove our point right, and they're just showing you the little bits and pieces. But wait till it all comes out. It's gonna backfire on the Marjorie. First of all, why is Marjorie Taylor Greene still like the poster child for anything?
Oh, yeah.
Like anytime it's just like, oh, this could be interesting. Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, hey, I heard a thing. It's like, oh fuck. Well, this
because they know that she's like Trump light. They know they can push her buttons.
Yeah.
They can get her to overreact. They could get her to say some stupid shit on the mic and to push it.
Kind of like that Mike Lee, where it's just like, hey, say the thing about the guy holding up the badge so we can all laugh at you and tell you how stupid Trump supporters are again.
Yeah.
And again, let me preface again, I'm not a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
I don't care which direction this goes. I want all the evidence to be shown. And I think something a lot more. I lean more towards, hey, there's a lot of feds probably in there, probably instigating it. The cops clearly were doing some instigation.
Yeah.
I do believe in the ghost buses, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
But then they throw Marjorie Taylor Greene's
know.
face up there, and
Yeah.
it's just like you just discredited everything that anybody
know.
would even bother to talk about at that point.
No, you're
like
right.
anytime I see her on an article about a thing that sounds kind of fishy, I'm like, I'm not even going to touch it. Like, I'm not even going to read that article because she's a freaking crackhead.
And that's the thing. It's like whenever they want to make Trump people look bad, they just throw enough little catnip out there, and they're going to start playing around with it, and they're going to make themselves look stupid, and people are going to be like, oh, that's right.
She's like a shill, and she doesn't even know it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
She's like conspiracy world, like a shill is somebody, like people say Alex Jones was a shill because he would just be all outrageous. And then anybody that brings up any kind of conspiracy theory, they'd be like, oh, you're one of those Alex Jones crackheads. Well, she's like that, but she doesn't know it.
Oh, yeah.
They just feed her, like you said, feed her the information. She's like, I heard a thing once about this really like lizard people and shit. And then people are like, see?
Yeah.
See the right-wing conspiracy theorists?
That's the Trump people right there.
Like they don't,
See?
yeah, they don't need a nefarious shill that's just like, I'm going to infiltrate. No, they got Marjorie Taylor Greene. And now this Mike Hill, I don't know that he's as bad, but he at least is too dumb to look into something before he just like, look, the guy's flashing an FBI badge. It's like, I mean, it just takes like 5 seconds of research before you post something
and
like
so
that.
all they need to do then is they say, look, Mike Lee said this, and oh, look, Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying this. Wow,
right-wing
people,
conspiracy
wow,
theorists, are you really going to pay attention to any of the other 40,000 hours of video?
Yeah.
Because listen to what these
freaking
crazy people are saying.
So there's it's all discredited at that point.
Do you know why I don't think that it's going to backfire like the left is saying? Because, man, like I said at the beginning, like you can't find this on the mainstream media anywhere.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's not like the video, like the couple mainstream articles that are like, or lefty articles are like, oh, this is just going to backfire because it's just going to show them how bad it really was. I don't think that's the case because, like we said, nobody's talking about it. And if it did show that this was even slightly as violent as they're saying, they would be all over that shit. They would be covering it. Like that would be plastered all over MSNBC's website. It would be plastered all over CNN's website, probably Fox News's website even. It would be, look how violent this thing was. This was as bad as we said and worse.
Yeah.
And then they would probably call a new hearing. They'd probably throw more charges at Donald Trump. But nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Like I went to every mainstream source that I could think of, like US. I went to CNN, I went to MSNBC, ABC, CBS, even NPR, and typed in the search bar January 6th. And the most I would find was Mike Johnson releases 40,000 videos. That's the only article that you can find. Or Donald Trump being indicted for such and such on nothing. Right. Nobody really touching this. Nobody talking about it. Nobody said, like NPR hadn't said anything about even the release of the videos.
Yeah.
So it's like they're hiding from it because they don't want people to start looking into it themselves because it might come out that this is not the story that they said it was or have been saying it is this whole time. Why else would they not be touching it?
Well, because they know the people that are going to go search it out and actually say stuff are the people that they don't need to worry about.
Right. So another thing that came out right before the video is released. Again, all this stuff coincidentally just happening at the same time. People asking these questions all at the same time. Donald Trump, a tape. Like I looked up, I was doing like typing in January 6th. The one thing that did pop up about January 6th was this article about Donald Trump. If it'll pull up, I don't know if I have it. Pretty much, they were trying to say it was damning evidence of Donald Trump because it was a recording, an audio recording of him and his Secret Service, and he was like, "Oh, I wanted to go back there." Remember when he said he tried to tell his limo driver to take him back there. You
Yes.
remember that?
Yeah.
Well, this is him with the Secret Service like months later or something, and he's like, "Oh, I wanted to go back there. I really wanted to. I wanted to go to the Capitol with him. I wanted to go back." And they're oh, man, I wish I had this article to pull up. Hang on, let me see if I have it anywhere.
No, I remember
I
what
probably
you're
don't.
talking about.
I probably don't. Oh yeah, here it is. I must have closed it. I want to read what he had said because they're like, this takes the cake here. This is from Newsweek, so this is more Trump leaning actually. So this gives you the actual dialogue that he said. But they're like, the left is portraying this as Donald Trump wanted to join the insurrection, but his Secret Service wouldn't let him. And this is all I can find about January 6th on any of these news sites. Not anything about the videos, but this one audio clip that he had said. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see if I can find the quote. Jesus Christ, I can't do anything today. He says, I was going to go back, and then the Secret Service said you can't. And then by that time, I would have. And then when I got back, I saw I wanted to go back. What? I was going to go, and then Secret Service said you can't. And then by the time I would have, and then when I get back, I saw I wanted to go back. Trump said, as heard in audio extract aired exclusively by CNN on Thursday. I was thinking about going back during the problem to stop the problem, doing it myself. Secret Service didn't like that idea too much. So it sounds, reading this all out, sounds like somebody asked him, why didn't you stop this?
Right.
That was always the question. It's like, why did you wait so long to tell your freaking supporters to go the fuck home?
Right.
And he's like, I wanted to go back and I wanted to go there myself and stop it myself because people love me. And all I got to do is say, stop, guys. And everybody would stop. They would have just went home and I could have done it myself. But Secret Service said no. So it's a really Secret Service's fault that I didn't go back and stop it. But how the left portrays this, like the audio clip I heard, I'm pretty sure he says, I was thinking about going back during the problem. And then they cut it off there. Like he was just like, oh yeah, I just wanted to go and join in the riots. And it's just like, you got to play this thing out for what it was, because when you read it through, it doesn't sound like he wanted to join.
Right.
Because he says, to stop the problem, doing it myself. Or maybe they're like, oh, he wanted to storm the Capitol himself.
Right, yeah.
But no, it sounded like he's saying, I wanted to go back.
Like, Mr. President, they're storming the Capitol. Oh, shit. I should probably go back and say something.
Yeah, no, you probably shouldn't go back.
You need to keep going.
Because it's like the former president added he would have been very well received by the crowd at the Capitol. Trump added, don't forget the people that went to Washington that day. In my opinion, they went because they thought the election was rigged. That's why they went. Yeah, it was called the Stop the Steal rally. So then it goes on to say blah, blah, blah about the rest of it. But this just came out too. They're like, hey, did you hear this audio about the president saying he wanted to join the riots?
Yeah.
It's like, that wasn't a thing either. And again, we're just like mixing things to fit our narrative because people are like, oh, this is going to be really damning coming up in his trial coming up where he's saying he didn't want to incite riots. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But then he says he wanted to go back during the problem. And it's just like,
yeah.
But it sounds like he was more making excuses for not stopping it sooner. It's like, well, I wanted to.
Probably, yeah.
But the Secret Service said no.
He's like, I'm going to go stop him. Hold me back. I'm going to stop him right now. Hold me back.
Pretty much.
Grab my shirt.
If I would have been there would have been no riots.
Yeah.
So Derek says, out of context quotes are my favorite quotes. I mean, those are the only quotes.
Right. They do it all the time with Trump.
And yeah. Out of context quotes are the only quotes in media because it's only in the context of the story they're trying to tell. Because otherwise, they just wouldn't say it at all. If it didn't fit their narrative, obviously, they're not going to.
Yeah.
But if they can spin it to fit their narrative, then it works. So, I don't know. Like, again, I'm really surprised that the MAGA people aren't, like, burning shit down already.
Yeah.
You do have people that are... Like I saw a post on Twitter that are like Liz Cheney for treason. It's just like, Jesus, we're going that like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, maybe she did intentionally withhold evidence,
Yeah,
or the video stuff because she doesn't like Donald Trump because he's not starting enough wars.
right.
Wait, Dick Cheney's not dead, is he?
No, he's not dead.
Oh, what did I
You're
say?
thinking of
I'm thinking of John
McCain.
McCain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
easy to
just
get
got
them
to
mixed
thinking,
up because
yeah.
his daughter sucks
They're
too.
both war
Yeah,
hogs. That
yeah, and both their daughters
they're
are
both their daughters
fucking
are war
rhinos.
whores. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that misinformation earlier.
Yeah,
All that out of context shit. I hope that doesn't like discredit this whole entire episode. Dick Cheney, unfortunately, is not dead.
No.
And neither is Liz.
But you didn't
But-
explicitly say he was dead. You just kind of alluded to it.
I said it killed him.
Yeah,
Which would
but
allude
then
that
you
he
moved
died.
on from that.
Yes. So what do you think Liz Cheney should be wrote up for treason or strung up for treason or
Well, that would be fun, but no, I don't think she should be. I do think she should, I do think she should. I think the whole J6 committee should be put out there for obstruction of justice.
it should be called a fucking sham that it was from the start.
Oh yeah,
Like we should put like an asterisk on it, like freaking
Oh, yeah.
Mark McGuire's home run records or
Right.
whatever. And
no, they should be brought up for obstruction of justice because they hid evidence.
yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Not treason though.
No, not treason.
I mean, just
That's a MAGA guy's wet dream.
yeah, no shit. Should go to Guantanamo Bay.
That's right. Let's waterboard them.
Yes. So
We're getting kicked off so bad.
I said we're fucked, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, like when I first read it, do you think it's gonna get to there where the MAGA people are just so outraged that they're just burning shit down
No, but I think the feds are going to do that and say it's
and
the
claim
MAGA
it
guy.
on the
Yeah.
MAGA
They,
crowd?
they've been
Yeah.
looking for that narrative for a while, and this is going to be their last hurrah.
Like, well, they did just release all those videos,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of a sudden the building burned down and
Right.
blew up, and stuff.
Obviously it's the MAGA people pissed
Obviously, yeah, he was wearing a MAGA
off,
hat,
right? And we saw Ray Epps there,
and we know he's a MAGA guy.
right?
Does this release, does it benefit Trump, you think? Does it like push his narrative? Does he gain gain in the polls based on this release?
I don't think so. I think all it's going to do is remind people how toxic he is.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna energize his base, right? His people. It's gonna piss them off. They're gonna want justice. It's gonna, but it's not gonna get him any new followers.
No.
If anything,
I mean,
again,
the people that follow Trump are already following
right? They're
Trump.
they're not going anywhere. It's not going to bring any new followers because again, it's going to remind them of all the toxicity there, and they're going to be like, we don't want to deal with that anymore.
Do you think the MAGA people or like Newsweek or the Gateway Pundit, the couple outlets out there that still follow Trump, do you think they keep this thing a story, or do you think it just goes away? Because like I said, the mainstream media is just like, oh, just ignore it, it'll go away, nobody will think about it. Or do you think as more and more gets released, it's going to become a bigger and bigger thing?
I think they're going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep pushing it until it finally just putters out because nobody in the government except for the Marjorie Taylor Greens are trying to do anything about it.
Right, and like I said, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
What Marjorie
You know,
Taylor
Mike
Greene
Johnson
thinks.
he's a Trump guy, so he's trying to, make it a thing. But with everything else going on, it just doesn't really matter anymore, unfortunately.
No, probably not. So
Like I said, I would love to see, obstruction of justice. They get impeached, whatever else.
None
they
of
have
that
a whole new
happens.
trial, but that won't happen.
Derek says, I say we hack the election and vote Smith or some libertarian, and then we can really watch the Capitol burn.
I'd be all right with
I'd
that.
be okay with you hacking the voting system and changing it to Josh Smith for president. I fully endorse the rigging of the election and Josh Smith.
Everybody
Smith's
should
favor.
rig the election from now on.
Rig all the elections all
of
the time.
them, rig them.
Just rig them, hack the voter system.
Yes.
The election was a fraud. I'm just going to say all the things to get us kicked off. The J6 was a peaceful protest.
Yes, and the vaccine will kill you.
The vaccine will kill you. COVID was a hoax, and
Yes.
And 9/11 was a
and
conspiracy.
Biden is dead. Obama's the real president.
Michelle Obama's a trans.
Yep, we're done.
We're done. I think
It's been fun.
I mean, all this we're like kind of sort of tiptoeing around in like the last 30
Yeah.
seconds. Let's just say all the
Yeah.
words. And they're like, we're taking them down for this. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And Q.
Yes.
Just Q.
Just
QAnon.
We don't need to say anything else.
Nothing else. QAnon.
Anon.
Q was right this whole time.
Yes.
Trust the plan.
And
Trust the plan.
what was it? Was it gay frogs?
The
What was
fluoride in the water turns the freaking frogs
There
gay.
we go. Yes.
That's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, well, you can't.
That
You gotta
is an
pull those
oldie but a
back
goodie.
sometimes.
Yes. And I'm not even going to say that one. Never mind. Speaking of Alex Jones, never mind. I don't want to get sued for $1 billion.
Right.
Not that I care about my YouTube channel, but I don't want. Yes, Derek, the Earth is flat. So I mean,
Yes.
might as well.
Yes.
Yes, but I don't want to get sued for $1 billion.
No.
Don't
no,
want that. Don't
no,
need that in my life. So
No.
I mean, I don't have a minor fraction of that. So good luck. But
Oh, wait. Here's a barn burner.
climate change is a myth.
Yes, climate change is a myth, and Israel should do a ceasefire.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And that one thing didn't actually happen.
That one thing.
6 million is a made up number. Jesus.
We're done.
We're done. We're done. And then, guys, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been a
It's
good
been
3 years.
3-year run. I don't know. We're just like burn it down with the Capitol, I
Yeah,
guess.
why
burn it
not,
down
man?
with this freaking system we got. Might as well watch it burn. Guys, it's been great. Thanks for joining. If you're listening in the future, it's been a great run.
If you hear this show, you've gotten a real gem.
If you're listening, leave a comment. Does this shit even piss you off? Does this shit piss you off?
Yeah, it
even?
pisses the fuck out of me because they're manipulating. It's what Biden's been doing the whole time.
But did we not? Well, like we knew that's what they were doing,
yes,
but now
absolutely.
seeing it come out, I mean, it doesn't piss me off any more than I was already pissed off. But it just
reminds
validates my
me
pissed
how
offness.
off it
Yes.
is, yes.
So
Yes, but it also makes you, because like just like with the NED, it's like, this isn't the only thing they're doing.
right.
I mean, it's all over the place. There's fucking around, and so even that pisses me off.
It's true. I mean, it's all world class
It is,
fuckery.
and they don't give a fuck about the citizens.
No, and they it's so blatantly obvious now they don't even try to cover it up.
No,
but
no.
then they're like, oh, but there's
There's no
zero
evidence.
evidence to
Yeah.
prove it. I mean, if you say there's zero evidence, then you can literally say it didn't happen.
Yes.
Because I said there's zero evidence to substantiate this. I mean, you see it all the time when it comes to any claim that goes anywhere against. They still say it about the vaxxes, like not harming or whatever. It's
Right,
like there's
right.
zero evidence to prove this. It's like, well, what about the evidence that kind of substantiates that, or at least there's questions there,
Yeah.
but there's zero evidence to say. It's like that has become. There's no burden of proof anymore as long
No.
as you put there's zero evidence
Right.
on this. That's all they got to say.
Yeah.
On that note, it's been a great run, guys. Make sure you check us out all over social media while we're still there. Share us far and wide, so people can follow us, and then we disappear into the abyss like they want us to. So share us at the handle at Break the Bell Pod on Facebook and Twitter, and I guess Instagram if you want, if that's your thing. We'll hopefully maybe be back here next week.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if the overlords allow that. We might have to go through some re-education. Might have to go through some like a re-education camp. And
Yes. Well,
some-
hopefully we don't commit suicide with 2 to the back of the head.
that's true too. This is all we got for this week, and it's been plenty. Have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back, because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.